Welcome back to Sweet as Honey. I have a special guest today. Miss Karley Swindel is joining the podcast, and I'm so excited to have her on. She's a beauty inside and out, and I'm grateful that she came. You guys will love getting to know her. So,
yay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
I know.
Very honored.
Aww. Well, Sweet as Honey's honored to have you. Let's just go straight into it and kind of tell me about yourself from top to bottom. Like, how did you start dancing? Tell me about your family, all of it.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Nederland, Texas, which is like a super small town. I say super, like because of my accent. And like I'm the Southern girl on the team. People think that I grew up around like cows and stuff like that. I didn't. We have stoplights and malls and all the things, but it's a small town called Nederland, and it sits like right on the border of Louisiana. So I went to Louisiana a lot actually growing up, and a lot of people from my hometown do, just because we're so southeast. But anyways, yeah, born and raised there. And then literally I was born into the dance studio. My mom owns a dance studio, and the first place that she brought me was her dance studio. Like she gave birth, and then after she obviously recovered and they dismissed her from the hospital, she was like, I have to go finish teaching dance class. And they were like, what? And she's like, I want to go teach the last class of the night. So when people were like, you were born into dance, I really was. That was the first place that I went. I mean it. Your
mom is such a boss.
So her. And anyway, so brought me to the hospital, and then I started dancing at the age of 2 and grew up dancing, started competing at the age of 5, which I'll give you all a little fun like story later about my first ever dance competition.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later. There is a big story there. But anyways, we'll save that for later. But started competing at 5, and then I did middle school cheer. So I tried out for cheer, loved it, and then that made me decide that I wanted to keep doing it in high school. So a lot of people were really shocked that I didn't go the drill team route just because I'm such a dancer. Like I love dance. Yeah. But I knew that if I was going to do that type of cheer, that it was only going to happen in high school and that I would stop after graduating. So I wanted to enjoy it, loved it, but kept dancing through it all. And I tried other things like soccer, basketball, track. I did all those things and I loved it. But you know, like when you get older, your schedule just gets so busy. You have to give up something. And I knew my heart was with dance always. Yeah. And then, and I also did pageants. So I started doing pageants at the age of...
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, I did everything. I wanted to be well-rounded. I think that was like my goal, was like just to be well-rounded. And that's why I did all the things. Yeah. But my mom asked me, I think when I was 5, if I wanted to do a pageant. And I was just like, okay, sure. And I did it, loved it.
Went all the
way. I did it all the way through high school, and then I wanted to try out for DCC. But I did go to 1 year of college. I lived in College Station. Okay. Loved the town. Loved my roommates. Lived in a beautiful, super cute townhome, but hated college. Like hated it. And
not for everyone.
It's not for everybody, and that's something else that we can talk about later. But it wasn't for me. I knew that I wanted to try out for DCC. I knew that I also wanted to get my real estate license. And I was planning to like finish my college years, go get my license, try out for DCC. But it was bothering me that I was going to have to spend like 4 or 5 years in college, then go get my real estate license and then try out. And I was like, wait, that puts me like in my mid to late 20s. Yeah. And I think I was just so eager to keep dancing and all the things. And so I finished my first year, and I remember calling my parents and being like, I don't think this is for me, because I was going for dance or business. At the time, I was still deciding which route I wanted to go. And my parents were like, you don't need it. My mom, I think, wanted me to stay, but my dad actually was very against it. And so I was like, I think that I'm just going to finish this year, go ahead and go get my real estate license, and then try out for DCC. And so that's what I did. I did exactly that. And here I am living in Dallas, and I love it. So I plan to stay here. I love it.
Such a big change from a small town, and Dallas is such a big city. Yeah. But I kind of have like a similar story. I mean, Nebraska's smaller and definitely a different culture, but it's fun when you get to move to a big city and experience all of that.
And there's definitely pros to living in a small town. Like, our community is so tight, and like football is, for example, a big deal in Texas. And so like the community coming together, I don't think that I'll be able to find a school up here that had the spirit that my school did. I'm very proud of that. But I think that I was kind of ready just for something new.
Yeah,
and we have a lot of good schools out here and football teams, I will say. But my little small town, I mean, we pack the stadium and they go to all the playoff games. Like our playoff game could be 5 hours away and we will literally buy all the tickets plus the other side. Like other teams get mad at us because
oh my god,
like, why are you all traveling? You're taking all of our tickets. And I'm like, because that's how our community is. But like I said, I was ready for a different environment, more like we don't even have, for example, like a Jersey Mike's where I'm from. So I'm like, I need a town where there's more to eat, more to do, all the things.
Now that you got a plethora of options.
I moved up here and I was like, what's Jersey Mike's? And everybody was laughing at me. And I was like, oh, we only have Subway where I'm from. But
just a sweet small town girl through and through.
I'm thankful though for the way that I grew up.
For sure. No, I think there's definitely something great about like a simple life like that. So tell me, well, first I was going to ask, what did your mom think when you decided to do cheer versus dance in high school? Was she like upset at all or she like?
Okay, so that's funny that you asked because my close friends and like people in our community know what I'm about to say, but other people that don't know my family, so if like from the outside looking in, they would think that, right?
Yeah.
My mom was actually more of a cheerleader than a dancer growing up.
Okay.
So she did like dance from, baby ballet all the way through, now owns her own dance studio.
Yeah.
But she was a boss at cheer. Like
I could see that.
Okay, so she actually twirled first.
Oh, wow.
Was a killer twirler, like competed and won national titles. And then she was like, well, I'm really good at tumbling. I think I want to do cheer now. So then she tried out for cheer. I think it was in high school. And she had a great career there, went to cheer in college, was the head cheerleader there. And
Go off, mom.
Right? Yeah. But see, she like tumbles. She did like
tucks
like, and all
cheer.
No, like, I mean, I did tumbling, but I was nothing like her.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm more of a dancer than her actually. Yeah. I mean, she's a great dancer. She can still dance awesome till this day, but she was just so good at cheer. And then she traveled with like a cheer company. I forgot what it was called, but they traveled around the country.
Oh,
and
wow.
She did the whole thing. And she has a really raspy voice. And it's from like all those years of cheer.
No way.
Yeah, which I kind of have a raspy voice too, but hers is like really raspy because she yells so much. But
That's funny.
And she actually offers cheer classes at her studio. And so she does more than dance and
keep it well-rounded.
Every year when it's cheer tryout season, we get so many girls that come to both her and me. And I think that's the thing is like we wanted our clientele to be able to come to us not just for dance. Like we wanted to offer cheer, gymnastics, tumbling, all the things, and even pageant prep. Like we do all the things. So she was I think actually really happy that I decided to do cheer. Because growing up, I was like, I was
more
to do
in her comfort zone.
Yeah, and so now I think it was fun for her to be able to watch me do that. Something she loved growing up as well and get the best of both worlds.
So how was it having your mom with like that same experience kind of teaching you growing up?
Yeah, I look back and it wasn't like a crazy experience. I think other dancers that have their mom as their coach or their teacher kind of like struggle and butt heads. We really didn't. Like I think it actually pulled us closer. And that's why she's like my best friend today. But yeah, I mean, I grew up as her having me as her student, not just her daughter. And I don't think I ever took advantage of that. Like I felt like I just was, because the studio was all I knew, I was just going into dance class and mom just happened to be there. I will say like when I was little, I remember, those memories from when you're little that just stick in your brain and it's really random. Yeah. I do remember like sprinting to the door, trying to dash out of baby ballet. And because I guess she gave me another teacher because she didn't want to teach me so that she wouldn't like abuse the whole situation.
Yeah.
Like it's good. It's healthy for your child to grow up with other adults teaching them.
Right.
So I knew she was in the building somewhere though. So I would like sprint to the door and they would have to grab me, pull me back. And I'm like, but mom's somewhere in this building. But I went through that phase. And I also went through the phase of like kind of taking advantage of her being my mom in the sense of like, if I didn't feel like dancing and she was teaching the class, I'm like, I can just go hide behind the ballet bar and pout. And so if I was having like a cranky day, I would do that. But I will say after I got out of like the toddler, young child stage, that's just like all I knew. And
you wanted to
it wasn't
be there.
Weird. Like when she walked into the room, like, I think you can probably agree with this. Like growing up, when the owner walks in, the vibe changes.
Yeah.
Like you stand up a little bit taller. I noticed like even I did that. Like when the owner walks in, not that they're scary, but you just stand
like
a little tall. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And even though she was my mother, when she walked in, I stood a little bit taller and my everybody in the room's just vibe changed for the better. But I was like, you know what? I noticed that's such a good thing. Like that I'm seeing her not just as my mother and I'm like, oh, you know, I can just take the easy route and like slack off just because it's my mom and I know that she loves me. I was like, no, I'm going to respect her both as my mom and my dance teacher. But, you know, I did struggle, like, if I did get a special part or whatever, people automatically assumed, well, she got that
her
because,
daughter.
Right. It's like, no, I got that because I worked my tail off and I never missed a class. Like, I would literally go from cheering at a basketball game and show up in my cheer uniform to make sure I made the ballet class. Like, there were girls that, I did. Like, there were girls that don't do that. They're like, well, I'm just going to, you know, not dance during football season so I can do cheer or drill team or a sport and then hop back in. And I had the mentality of like, that's not how it works. Right. You do both. If you're going to be in both, you still have to show up to dance. You still have to show up to cheer or whatever. Yeah. And I think that girls didn't realize that. Like I was making it work. I would never miss a dance class, even if I had the flu. Yeah. So that was really hard growing up. Like people just assumed I got things because I was her daughter, but I didn't let it get to me. And then she helped me with pageants. She was my coach for that. And, you know, of course we had like our moments where we would fight and bicker or whatever, but some of my favorite memories is like her helping me get ready backstage, doing my hair and makeup. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Sweet memory.
I give her full credit for all of it, but especially cheer. Like I didn't really know much about cheer. Like dance just came naturally to me, but cheer I had to work really hard on. And she started me at like 5 and she prepped me and I feel like I did make the cheer squads because of her. So it was fun, honestly. So it's a good memory too.
Yeah, and it's great to have your mom as your supporter who knows so much about it too. So you can like trust what she's saying. And, yeah, and just she's seen you through your whole career up to now too. So she has watched you grow and that's really special. Let's talk about your experience auditioning for DCC because it is unique, but I love it because it just shows your work ethic and your determination to like make a dream come true.
Well, buckle up, folks, because this one is a doozy. Okay, so this actually goes all the way back to my first dance competition. That's why I saved the story. So, yeah, I started competing at 5, and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders used to host a dance competition.
Yes,
They like now we kind of host a cheer. Yeah, and it's fun. Like I love that. I think it's great, but. They used to do a dance competition, and now
I would love that.
Oh no, I'm like, bring it back. If anybody's listening from staff, please bring it back because it was amazing. And like, I just think about the talent that we would pull in. Oh my gosh! But anyways, so they used to have that, and my mom, like before I was even born, she would bring her competition teams to go to that competition, and she has pictures of me in her belly, like on Texas Stadium. AT&T wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah, so
she has like me in her belly, all pregnant. But anyways, when I was old enough, she put me on her competition team, and guess what dance it was? Like what song?
Baby, I'm a Star?
No. Actually, I did do a dance.
I did too.
I think we all did. Like who did it? But it was Boots Are Made for Walking.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, if you didn't know that, we do that for a halftime.
Yeah, we do.
Breast cancer awareness. So anyways, that was my first competition dance. It was a little jazz routine. And she brought us to Texas Stadium. We competed. And if you get a certain score, you get to qualify for their halftime performance for Christmas.
No way.
So we got to dance with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders because we scored high enough.
Wait, they should totally bring that back.
Oh, we would have a ball.
Yeah.
So, and just having the kids there, it's just awesome. But anyway, so we qualified and we got to rehearse with the DCC the day before the game. And it was like this white dome that they used to have like a practice field. I just remember like a big white ceiling.
Yeah,
anyways, so we went in there and the DCCs were in there because you have to set the formations with them and everything.
Right.
Well, I remember like that was my first time seeing them in person and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I can't remember what DCC it was and I wish I knew, but I just remember like locking eyes with one of them and I was like, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Aww. And that was the moment I knew that I wanted to be a DCC. Yeah. And so this is going to sound crazy, like psycho dance mom and daughter, but because I knew that's what I wanted to do, we set my path up for DCC. Like my mom was like, I'm going to make sure that you're prepared. Like we're going to do all the things. So that's actually why like I stuck with dance. I did cheer, not just because I wanted to and get that experience, but like I wanted to learn about sharpness and palm motions with the mix of like dance at the same time. And then pageants helps too.
Smart.
With being poised, interview skills, like all the pageants that I did had interviews in it. So learning how to speak to somebody professionally, but still be down to earth. And so that all really groomed me for DCC. Yeah. And so, yeah. And I actually did one of the kids camps. And that's where I met Jennifer Amburn.
Oh,
which she was on the team when I went. I went when I was older, so I was like the oldest one there, but I didn't care. I was like, I just want to be here, get the experience, meet some of the girls.
Yeah.
And I met Jen, and she told me, she was like, when you try out one day, reach out to me. And Pro Focus and all of her prep classes weren't even a thing yet. Like, this was pre all that.
Yeah.
And she was like, one day, like, I want to train you and help you prepare. And I was like, okay, like, whatever. I was still in high school, kind of brushed it off and went about high school and then did the college thing. I already talked about all that, but I was so eager to try out. And so part of the reason why, or a huge reason why I left college early was for DCC. I was just anxious to do it. And so anyways, I trained in 2019, like got back in shape, gained my flexibility back because I was studying so hard that I wasn't dancing a lot.
Right.
And so I trained, did all the things. And then I was like, okay, 2020, I'm going to try out. Well, I had actually already submitted my application for DCC auditions before COVID ever happened. Well, COVID was like probably floating in the air, but we didn't know what it was because the applications opened in January of 2020.
Yeah.
So at the time, you were supposed to be doing the traditional round 1, 2, 3, where it's in person, all the things. So I had already submitted my application for that.
Oh, wow.
Well, then COVID happens. And the first thing I thought was, well, what's going to happen to DCC auditions? Like, what is this going to be like? Because they're telling us to stay home. Like, we can't even leave our homes. And so I remember like staying up to date with the website, and they at one point kind of made it sound like auditions might not even happen. I mean, you probably know all this because you're a bubble baby. But anyways, I was like, well, what happens with my other application? Coming to find out, they like canceled all those. You had to resubmit because now auditions went virtual. And the first thing I thought was like, yeah, this is great that they're making it happen, but I wanted to be in person. I think we all wanted to. But anyway, short and long is I tried out in 2020, so I could have been a rookie with Claire. And your class is so amazing. And I think that your class is going to go down as like one of the most iconic rookie classes. Y'all know y'all are because y'all overcame like all odds that year. I mean, you, the DCC staff, like Cowboys organization in general, like it's that year will go down in history. So anyways,
special.
I tried out and we had like 1,600 girls try out. And I think I heard somewhere else that they took 150 to the next round, but I heard on another, when they used to do that podcast that they took 69, which was a huge honor because if you're going from 1,600 to 69 and we made that cut, that's huge. And so anyways, it just pulled in so much talent and stuff, but made it past the first round, was super excited, and then learned the combo and the kick line, all the things. And that was basically like the last round before training camp. They just did it differently. There was like a small interview.
I did it.
Like,
the interview.
I think it was like the same girls that still made it to training camp or something like that. They might have cut a couple.
I did it with Haley.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard. But I hate that I didn't get the chance to speak to them.
Right, because that's a strong suit.
I was ready for that like moment, but I missed it and I got cut. And when that is your dream, like going back to the 5-year-old Karley that like literally this is her dream job and she trained her whole life for this. Opening up that email crushed me. Yeah. And because then I thought, now what? Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And so I remember crying and being upset and wondering why. Like, what did I do wrong? And I had to make the dreadful phone calls to like my dance teachers and be like, hey, I didn't make it, because they all really helped prepare me. Like I had a huge support system, and I didn't tell a lot of people because I don't think a lot of the candidates do, because you just have to be careful. Yeah, but you tell your dance teachers, you tell your close family and friends, and I had to like call everybody and say, hey, I didn't make it. And all of them are like, what happened? Like, I don't know. And I don't know either. They don't give you feedback.
Can't really give an answer.
And so I was crushed. But after I got all the emotions out of the way, I was like, let's do it. Like, let's pick ourselves back up. We're going to train hard and we're going to do this. So I took like so many, I do feel like I needed to work on my stamina and kicks. So I like took so many cardio classes. I did all the things, had like a very set schedule to help prepare me for the next year. And I do feel like I came into the next audition so much stronger. And you don't realize that until you put like video by video and you're like, oh, yep, I see the difference. But anyways, worked my tail off. I didn't do really prep classes with Jen. I think I went to like 2 and did 1 private lesson with her. And she told me, she's like, you can do this. Like, you're going to be on the team
saw
one day.
It. Yeah.
But she was like, but it is about timing and all the things. And she also told me, like, you don't want to just slide in. Like, you want to make it. Like, you want them to fall in love with you. And I didn't understand what she was saying at first.
Yeah.
You know now. You get it. Well, I get it now too. But she was like, no, Karley, you don't want to slide in. Like, if you're going to make this team, you're going to make it. Like, we're going to make sure you're a favorite. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And so anyways, made it past the first round again, all the things, got cut right before training camp. And I was like, I make it so close every year to training camp. And it's like, if they could just see me in person, maybe, but I'm not getting that opportunity. And again, it goes back to, you get zero feedback, which I get. You can't email every single girl, like, work on this. But when you're passionate about something, it becomes very irritating when you're like, what do I need to fix?
Right.
And so that's when I emailed, or I think I sent a DM to Jennifer on Instagram, and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know I got cut. I'm okay. And I think I took it better too, which was really interesting. I was emotionally better the second time around.
Yeah.
Don't know
You've
why.
been through it before.
Right. I think that's what it was. But I was like, this is weird that I'm like, okay. And so I messaged her. I was like, hey, I got cut. I'm okay. But like, we got to get down to the bottom of this. What is going on? And she was like, honestly, I'm shocked, but you need to join Pro Focus. I was like, well, what's Pro Focus? Which now everybody that's like in Pro Cheer knows what that is now. If you're not in Pro Cheer, you might not know what it is. Anyways, I was like, what's Pro Focus? And she was like, you join in September. I'm going to send you like a special invite because we only have a certain amount of space. And basically you get assigned to a teacher. You work with them once a week and you get honest feedback, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so every week I had to learn a routine, do it. And I was assigned with Melissa Wallace.
I love her.
I love Melissa Wallace. If you don't know who she is, she's literally one of the most iconic DCCs to ever exist. She was a boss. Like,
she
so good.
She is great.
And so when I was assigned to her, I was pumped. And because I actually met her at the same cheer camp that I met Jen at.
Okay.
So she was also
they were
there.
cheered together.
Yes, they did. And so anyways, Melissa's exactly who I needed. God sent. Because I was being told by family, friends, all the things that you're great. I don't know what you're doing wrong. Well, that's nice. Like, that's a compliment, but it's frustrating.
You need somebody to tell you.
I'm tired of being told that I'm not doing anything wrong. There clearly I am if I'm not making it.
There's something.
Right. And so when I worked with Melissa, she was exactly what I needed because she would look at you with love. It was always, she always does it in a graceful way, but she would look at you and go, really? That's all you got? And I was like, wow, I've never been told that. Like I needed that though. I was actually really happy when she told me. She literally looked at me and she was like, that's it? That's all you got? And I was like, oh, like you're exactly who I needed during this journey.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that kick in the butt.
Yeah. And we actually did mock interviews too. So you do more than dancing. And there was an answer I didn't know. And she was like, that's embarrassing that you didn't know that. And I was like, wow. I'm like, thank you for being just brutally honest with me. But still, it had so much love behind it. So anyways, did Pro Focus. But I think the most important thing that I did was shift my purpose. So I will say when you're trying out for a team, it's all about you. You're so focused on yourself. How do you look? How are you dancing? All the things. Where something came over me, my third attempt was like, Karley, this isn't about you. Do you realize that? Like, you can't be on this team until you're the best version of yourself. And until you're doing it with a purpose behind, like, why do you want to be on this team? It's not just about you. And so every day driving to the studio and driving back from the studio, because I teach classes at my mom's studio, no music. And I love music. I have to listen to music all the time. I was like, no, you're going to pray every day to the studio and pray all the way back. So I prayed in the car every single day. And I would like ask God, I was like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Like, you tell me, guide me, not just in dancing, like guide me in life. And, you know, I started telling him, I trust you. I'm confused, but I trust you. But put me on the team when I'm ready. And I think that's what it was. Like, I stopped being selfish and being like, I deserve to be on this team. I want to be on this team. And it shifted to like, God, why do I want to be on this team? And like, what is if I do make the team, what's my purpose? And I remember promising him, like, I promise I will be a light. Like, and I will do everything I can to be more than just a dancer, more than just a DCC. Like, I will pour into my teammates. I will pour into every person that I meet on an appearance. I will do everything that you want me to. And then I made it. Like, I made it all the way to the end. And like, not only did I make it, like, I had a great rookie audition. I had a great rookie year. And
she's a star, if you didn't know.
Well, thank you. That's sweet. But I don't know about that. But I literally, like, everything just went so smoothly. Like, was it perfect? No. Did I still have to overcome challenges? Yeah, of course. 'Cause being a rookie is terrifying.
Yeah.
But I still had all the nerves, all the things. Like, it wasn't easy, but everything shifted. The process was so much smoother, and I finally got to dance in front of them in person. And now here I am. But I think that I almost earned my spot, not just by like working hard in the dance aspect of things, but like I proved to God of like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to serve you through DCC. Like, I promise I will not make this about me. But I had never said those words to him until my third attempt.
Yeah.
And so I grew so much as a person, spiritually, just every way possible. And I think it's because I just shifted my mindset to him instead of about Karley.
Yeah.
And so I'm still talking to girls that are trying out this year and they didn't make it last year. And they're like, I know I can go to you because you get it. And I'm like, absolutely. Like, I'm always here. And so to me, it's worth it.
No, for sure. I was just thinking about the verse that talks about like how God sympathizes with us because Jesus like felt everything that we did on earth. And I think he like gives us that adversity so that we are able to overcome one, but two, like help other people and, you know, inspire them on their journeys. And I think it is definitely all for a purpose. And it's so sweet that like you have recognized that. And I actually read this verse this morning, but it's like whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it for the glory of God. Like, and I've always taken that with me in dance of like, okay, I can be a professional dancer. That can be my goal if I want it to be, but like, how is this going to impact other people? And I was forcing so many things in life at that time where like it just nothing was giving me peace of like the path I was pursuing. And then I kind of just surrendered that, like you said, and was like, okay, this needs to be about other people. It doesn't need to be about me becoming this star professional dancer. And when that shift happened in my heart, then the window for DCC opened and I was finally like open to it. And it was that bubble year. And I went into that audition thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be a fit for this place. Like, I never saw myself there. I wasn't about the glitz and glam really. So I was like, I'm probably not their look, but I love to dance. You know, it's during COVID. Like, let me just have fun with this and like give my best and we'll see what happens. But I remember writing in my journal, like, okay, God, just whatever happens, like help this make me a better person, a better dancer, a better just auditioner in general, like help, just let it grow me. And so I think I went in with such a hands-off, like surrendered approach and I had no expectations. And then all of a sudden it was like these prayers that I had prayed back in Arizona in school were being answered like twofold. And I was given like such a beautiful community of women who love to dance and love God. And that to me was like, I'm so at peace. This is an answered prayer. Like, so I do think there's definitely something to surrendering your plans to God. And like, I think he gives you dreams for a reason and plants those in your heart.
Absolutely.
But he does want your heart first and foremost. And so it is about the timing and like with you coming in, I didn't know that about you when you auditioned. So when I saw you, I'm like, oh, this girl's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't know the thing that she went through, but she was one of our rookies that like got some great opportunities and has continued to have a very successful career. And you can tell like by the way she carries herself and talks about things, like whatever she's gone through in life has very much prepared her for this moment now. And I think God's hand is definitely in it completely,
100%.
from top to bottom. But
absolutely, and like you said, timing is everything, and it's hard to accept that sometimes. Like, we have our own plan, like in our heads, and it might not align with his plan. And maybe for you, like I've heard you speak in the past, like you thought about going to LA. And that was your vision that you had painted, and he kind of redirected you. And at first, you were like, probably thinking, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? And you kind of fight him on it for a little bit. And then it makes you realize, like, like there's a reason behind this. And you have planted my seeds somewhere else or at a different time. Maybe it is the place that you wanted. Like for me, I'm here. I'm living my dream job right now, but just at a different time. And it's hard to accept at first. But if you just trust it, it all makes sense later on. The light bulb goes off. And as much as I would have loved to have been in your rookie class and we would have had so much fun, like I don't think I would have had the experience that I'm having right now with
Right.
DCC if I was in your class. Like maybe I would have squeaked in, and then I don't know. Like I just think all the possibilities, and I am so grateful to be in the rookie class that I am in. And going back to what you said about serving, like through your position and not being about you, like look at you now. You know, sweet as honey, people are listening and you're impacting lives even if you don't realize it. And so you're not just going out and wearing the beautiful uniform and the hair and the makeup and all the things. Like you are using this to reach lives. And I think that as long as you continue to do that, like you'll be rewarded. And that's kind of my mentality too. I'm like, be good, do good, live for him, and like you will be rewarded in some shape or form. And so if you're listening, I feel like a lot of people need to hear that. Like it gets tough, like it does. And you're like, where's the hope? When am I gonna be rewarded? It will happen. So anyways, I looking back, as much like I said, disappointment as I went through, it worked out so perfectly. So I'm very grateful.
I think it's a big encouragement to anybody who's been told no, or like you said, just is questioning his timing with things. Like, I think those, 3 years probably really prepared you for now.
Oh, absolutely.
Most of all in your heart to serve, because that's like what we're here to do. But also you had time to grow and mature and be the woman that you are, stepping onto this team, which is recognized. And like, like Jen said, you don't want to just slide in. You want to come in bold and strong, and you are probably a lot more confident and tougher skinned, and
for sure.
Just all those things that really do help prepare you for this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love your story, and I think it's so encouraging to people, and I think it can definitely be used as like a tool to just inspire others. And not everybody has that, it's something you went through, and now you guys say like, I conquered this, and it's part of your story. But
absolutely. Yes.
I love that. I love it. What would you say if somebody's coming to you for advice right now? Maybe they have been told no. What would be your best advice to continue pursuing their dream despite maybe some rejection, or, maybe it's not the right timing?
Yeah, a lot of things. But one thing that comes to mind is if a plan was a seed was planted in your heart for a dream, whether it's a pro team or a job opportunity or whatever it was planted there for a reason. So follow through with it. Like I said earlier, like I truly believe this was one of the things that I was called to do, was to be a DCC, not just for the dancing, but like to serve him and serve others. But if a seed is planted in your heart, it was put there for a reason. And if you want it, go for it until you get it. And it might, like I said earlier, the route might look different to get there, but do whatever it takes and trust in him and his timing to get there. And that's what Jen told me too. Like I had to have a really hard conversation with her via Zoom when I was in Pro Focus, and she knows that I'm a Christian, so she would talk to me like, are you praying? Like, what are you doing besides just prepping? Like, have you been praying about it? And of course I told her yes, and oh my gosh, yes, she's amazing. And I told her, I was like, I am praying, I'm doing all the things. She was like, Karley, there is a seed planted in your heart. She's the one that told me that. And when she said that, I was like, wow. I was like, she's so right. And she was like, you need to follow through with it. And I was like, you're 100% right. And then also the other thing that I would say, and this is, we've already said it a million times, so I sound like a broken record. And I think some people might say it's cliche to say, but it's so true, is trust the timing. Timing is everything. God makes no mistakes, ever. And so if you're told no, I think it's okay to feel the emotions. Feel the emotions. We're human. Like, if you want to cry, cry. If you want to be disappointed, be disappointed. But the next day is a new day. Pick yourself back up. And like I said, if that's something that you want, fight for it. And when God feels that you're ready, he'll give it to you. Like, I promise. And like I said, the route might be different. Once you get there, things might look different, but there was a reason why that dream was planted on your heart. So follow through with it and trust his timing, because he knows your story. Your story is written in stone. And that's what I tell girls that are trying out too. And I would tell anybody this for anything in life. Maybe you're still in high school and you want to be a cheerleader, or there's a job somewhere that you really want. Like, whatever dream you're going for, your story is already written in stone. There is nothing you can do to change it. And so let that give you peace of everything is already taken care of. All you need to do is wake up every morning and be the best that you can be. Be a good person. serve others, serve him. And like I said earlier, you will be rewarded. Your story is already written. So just take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay.
Yeah, and it might not look as you expect it to look, but that's where the faith and the trust comes in for sure.
100%. And it's not always easy.
No.
We've talked about that too, like faith and trust. It's not always easy,
No.
but nowhere in the Bible does it say being a Christian will be easy. It never says that.
I think it gets harder.
It does get harder. Gosh, as you get older too, and in the world we live in today, it is not always easy. And you get hate. Other girls get hate for being a Christian, and it's like, but it says it in the Bible that you will be hated. Like you will literally be hated by people in the world for being a Christian. And I'm like, it's okay.
People hated Jesus, but that's so true. And just going back to like living your life with a purpose, I think that God, like you said, plants those seeds, gives you gifts, and it honors him when you use those gifts. And I'm so passionate about that. And I was talking to Jess about it like a few days ago, but just with work and stuff and trying to figure out, you know, life plans. Oh, yeah. And my parents, I love them, and they'll probably watch this and laugh at me, but like it was a little bit of a struggle to convince them that the dance world was like worth pursuing as a career, just because it can be very rocky. And like, I did want to go to LA. My mom's from there. She knew like the. I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay. So she knows the lifestyle is a lot different than what I was used to, and I was more sheltered, you know, growing up. So she was very worried about it. And then when DCC came along, like they were so encouraging and supportive of it, just because of how well-rounded it is, and like it's so much more than dance, you know.
100%.
So it was a battle, and then once I kind of showed them, like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do with it, and they saw me getting opportunities, like it just naturally progressed. And I love what I do. Like I love teaching. I love DCC. I loved getting to do Sweet as Honey, which, you know, really came from that. It came from the women around me who inspired me, and I was like, okay, other girls need to hear these stories and advice to help them in their lives. It's helped me so much. And so I am very passionate about like, go with what God has given you, and like what makes you joyful. And it doesn't have to be something showy, but like, you know, use the tools he's given you, and I promise you, like, your heart will be fulfilled and your soul will be happy. And like, I do feel really lucky that I get to do what I love every single day. But yeah, and I just think life's too short. I'm like, life's too short not to go for those goals and those dreams that he's planted in your heart, and not do things that you love every day. So
no,
I'm full on that train.
That's why I always listen to the song "Till You Can't" by Cody Johnson. Because I heard that song play in I think it was in my boyfriend's mom's car, and I heard it for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, because he talks about like life being so short, and just go for it. Like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to be told no, but you don't want to have any regrets. And I am so passionate about gifts too, like from the Lord. Like, you were created and hand sewn away for a reason. So like for me, like I know that I have a great connection with like my students at the studio, and when I talk to them, I feel every time that I leave, I'm like, I'm exactly where I need to be. Like this is what I was put on earth to do. Yeah, and I'm so involved in their lives in other ways. Like they'll, you know, text me, will you help me pick my prom dress? Or will you help me do this? Or I'm like this goes way beyond just teaching dance. And if I can just inspire them a little bit in life, like it's so worth it. But my boyfriend, he's great at math, and I'm not. I'm like, no, I tell him, he's like, I don't want to be an accountant. I'm like, but God gave you this gift. Like he can like rattle off numbers and like do these equations really fast, and I'm like, how did you know that? But I look at him and I'm like, you were given gifts. And I've told him that. I'm like, God made you good at math for a reason, to help people with their finances or taxes or auditing or whatever. And here he is now living out his
working
dream
with
job.
Ellie.
And yes, he works with Ellie on the team, but he works in Dallas at a great accounting firm. And he's another small town boy that made it out here and is doing math every day. And I'm like, God gave you that gift, and you might love your job, but that was your gift, and now you're doing it, and you're obeying him. And I think that's another thing, is like, you have to obey the Lord. And I know that if I try to go be a nurse, while that's an amazing job, God didn't put me on the earth for that. And I felt like he put me on earth to inspire kids and work with them through the art of dance. So that way I'm doing something that I love while helping others. And same thing with DCC. Like we do kids camps and all the things. And I'm like, that is more rewarding than game day.
Yeah.
Honestly, like game day's fun. It's amazing. Nothing beats the atmosphere of AT&T Stadium, but kids camp? I'm like, oh yeah, like let's do
love
this.
The kids.
We get to inspire the kids, but seriously, they leave so inspired and you just see their little eyes light up and I'm like, yep, like that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And so anyways,
So fulfilling. I think that's something that's so great about what we do is, like I said, like it's way more than dance. There's a lot of community outreach. And I mean, I just got back from the USO tour in Korea and like my heart was just so filled and inspired. And I just wanted to sit and talk to the service members all day long and just like be inspired by them because they're people who are serving every single day and like sacrificing. And to me, that's such a, crazy thing to wrap my head around, but it's very eye-opening and gives you perspective on life too. But I love how intertwined God has been in our dance journeys. Because it's not separate, it's the biggest part of our life, so it affects everything. And it's definitely carried us both through, the lives that we've lived. And in dance, it's your rock to hold on to on a rainy day and a good day. But it's cool to see how God's like worked in your story for sure.
Oh, yeah, it's very interesting, but we're here.
We're here. We made it.
And I get to meet people like you, like I wouldn't be sitting on this couch today if he didn't put me here, and he's brought me so much more than just dance, too. And I think, like, the girls that he's put in my life, I'm just so thankful. I have 35 other incredible women to do it with, and, being with you and watching you serve in DCC, not just, like, teaching choreography. I mean, we do Bible study, you have your podcast, and you're very inspiring to me. And I'm like, you're the perfect example of you're not just dancing, like, you're serving through it. So congratulations to you, because that's just amazing.
I appreciate
you're a good role model.
And I love getting to watch you. I'm going to be cheering you on from the stands.
Stop, don't talk about it. I'm so sad.
But I feel like you're somebody who will do the exact same thing. And like, I'm sure you'll be a great Bible study leader and help pour into those girls. And I know that you're very passionate, and that work ethic and that heart really rubs off on other people. So just continuing that throughout, the generations to come with that team is going to be amazing to see. But I'm very excited to watch you shine on the field.
Thank
I'll get a little fat head.
Fat head.
Like,
something. I'm like, oh, there she is.
Yes, I love it.
So sad though.
I love it. I know. But yeah, I'm so glad this conversation has been incredible. I think it's going to help so many people. And I love your story. Like I said, I love your heart. And I'm glad that Sweet as Honey got a little glimpse into who you are. And I hope it just helps somebody on their day today.
Oh, yes. Hopefully so.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming and taking your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Me too.
Okay, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this episode. To stay up to date with Sweet as Honey, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on all social media platforms. And we will be giving you some exciting and new fun content. Get ready for it.